Hello everybody and welcome to the continuation of this series looking at high quality pieces of fiction and working out what makes them so good so you can apply the same skill set in your own creative writing. Today we're looking at character description. So often when students describe characters they fall into what we might call police report writing. It's as if you've witnessed a bank robbery and you're describing the suspect to the police. He was a tall man with brown hair and blue eyes. He wore a white shirt and blue jeans. Today we're going to look at 3 examples from fiction where the writers do a better job. Don't tell me the moon is shining, show me the glint of light on broken glass. This quotation, attributed to the Russian writer Anton Chekhov, highlights the first point we're going to look at: show me, don't tell me. The idea behind this is that we shouldn't just tell the reader what is happening or tell them things about a character, we should describe something which allows us to work that out. When it comes to character description, that means you don't write things like, he was angry, she was tired, they were excited. That's just telling the reader. No, you describe a moment of something taking place where the reader has to work out the emotions themselves. Here's an example from The Revenant by Michael Punk. Focus on the description in the second paragraph of William Ashley. My keel boat from St. Louis is due here any day, Monsieur Ashley. The portly Frenchman explained again in his impatient but insistent tone, I'll gladly sell the Rocky Mountain Fur Company the entire contents of the boat, but I can't sell you what I don't have. William H. Ashley slammed his tin cup on the crude slats of the table. The carefully groomed grey of his beard did not conceal the tight clench of his jaw. For its part, the clenched jaw seemed unlikely to contain another outburst, as Ashley found himself confronting again the one thing he despised above all else: waiting. Okay, so here we have a character who is angry because he has to wait for a boat, but the author doesn't write, he was angry. He describes an action, the slamming of the cup, the tight clench of the jaw, and we as the reader infer that he is angry. It's not difficult to show, not tell, but you'd be surprised how often students just tell the reader what's happening or tell them something about a character when they could be showing. Our second example comes from Haruki Murakami's 1Q84. The taxi's radio was tuned to a classical FM broadcast, Janacek's Sinfonietta, probably not the ideal music to hear in a taxi caught in traffic. The middle-aged driver didn't seem to be listening very closely either. With his mouth clamped shut, he stared straight ahead at the endless line of cars stretching out on the elevated expressway, like a veteran fisherman standing in the bow of his boat, reading the ominous confluence of 2 currents. Now, what I love about this example is that the author has chosen just 3 physical attributes to focus on: that the driver is middle-aged, stares ahead, and has his mouth clamped shut. But those simple points are enough to help us visualize this driver. It's not important what color hair or eyes he has or what he's wearing. What Murakami has done, and what you can do too, is he's decided what it is he wants to present about the character, this focused, serious evaluation of traffic that the driver is undertaking, and chosen a couple of elements to help us visualize that. And that's really point number 2. You don't have to describe every physical feature of the character. Just describe features which tell us something that's important in terms of the story. The driver isn't a key character, so we don't need to know every single detail about him. Pick and choose what you reveal about your characters. A third thing to consider is that character description doesn't always have to come from the narrator. So much of what we learn about a character comes through what others say about them. Consider the sergeant describing brave Macbeth in Act 1, Scene 2 of the Shakespeare play before we've even met Macbeth, or Enfield describing Hyde as downright detestable at the start of Jekyll and Hyde. Sometimes the function of one character can simply be to tell us something about another. Let's look at an example from Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse in the description of the character Charles Tansley. She looked at him. He was such a miserable specimen, the children said, all humps and hollows. He couldn't play cricket. He poked, he shuffled, he was a sarcastic brute, Andrew said. But it was not that they minded, the children said, and it was not his face, it was not his manners, it was him, his point of view. When they talked about something interesting, people, music, history, anything, even said it was a fine evening, so why not sit out of doors? Then what they complained of about Charles Tansley was that until he had turned the whole thing round and made it somehow reflect himself and disparage them, he was not satisfied. So here we learn about Charles Tansley, but through the views of other characters. And there we have 3 ideas for character description. Show, don't tell. Pick just 1 or 2 key qualities of your character to describe, and use the views of others to help readers visualize your characters. If you found this video useful, please do subscribe to the channel, and be sure to check out the other videos in this series, all in the English Language Paper 1 playlist, which I'll link here on screen.